Okay, so I'm really excited because today I am chatting with Lisa, who is so fascinating because she is just a seasoned traveler, has lived a bunch of places. I was introduced to her because she has this amazing Facebook group and community all about female solo travelers. Lisa, thank you for being here today and chatting with all of us.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited to talk to you, especially because it's the end of the year and I feel like it's a really nice wrap up talking about solo travel and maybe moving into 2026 as well with solo female travel. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so much I want to get into with you. And so I'm doing a new style video right now where I'm going to post this. We're going to have a nice chat, talk about a bunch of different topics. And so, people, you can sit back, relax, listen to this while you're doing other things, whatever. And then at some point, I'll cut it into smaller portions too. But what I want to talk about first is a post that I saw you make online that I thought was really interesting because it was about like how maybe you were seeing these pictures of all of these people who were looking perfect and posting these perfect travel selfies, and maybe it can make you feel a little bit like almost inadequate about your own travel experience. So tell me what you saw and like what was going on, and let's talk about like real travel versus how it looks on the outside.
Yeah, well, I came off social media for a couple of months because I mean, I've been solo traveling since I was 21 and I've just turned 50. So it's a long time. So I am a very seasoned traveler, but I feel that the new influencers, well, when I first started blogging, it was all just about blogging and giving destination guides. And now I feel that it's all about Instagram and influencers. And rather than showing the location, it's more about showing the person in the location. So it's kind
Yeah.
of changed from when I first started blogging and when I first started solo traveling as well. So I came off social media because I was actually feeling that I can't compete with the new influencers. I'm 50. A lot of them are in their 20s and 30s. The pictures that I do are generally from behind, and then I show the landscape. I'd hardly ever show my face, and I don't use filters if I do. So I was feeling that I just wasn't able to kind of keep up with what I thought people wanted because Instagram seems quite saturated with this perfect image, people in the perfect flowy dresses. They now have Instagram tours, like Bali especially. And I was just looking at the post thinking, I don't resonate with that. I don't wear that kind of thing when I go solo traveling. Um, who is taking their picture? And I just felt that as if solo traveling was changing and I wasn't part of this new breed of it.
Yeah, it's interesting because in a way, I don't okay, this might sound judgmental, and maybe it is, but I sort of feel like what a lot of those people are doing isn't really solo traveling. They're sort of going overseas for photo shoots, which is
Yeah.
its own thing. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with traveling somewhere for a photo shoot, right? But it's not really the same as solo traveling, right? And by the way, I've seen some of those people. Like I was literally up in the mountains in Italy, and like most people were like hiking, and it's like this rustic area, and there was like a woman there in this like gown as if she's going to the Oscars or something, and she's trying to get this perfect photo, and she has like a photographers and everything with her. All good, but I think that if you're branding that as, "Oh, yeah, I'm solo traveling and, this is my experience," it's I don't know, it's a little confusing, or it can feel different if you're really, like, there with your backpack on, having, like, a totally different experience.
Yeah, yeah, completely. And when I wrote the post, I was really worried about posting it because I felt very vulnerable and very raw. And I didn't want to come across as judgmental because I don't want it to be
Yeah.
them versus us, or it's just a perception that I have of social media. And I do have a very love hate relationship with social media. And I feel as though it's turned a lot of people into look at me. and it's all
Yeah.
about the likes and the followers rather than the actual reality of things, and that people don't tend to post the bad stuff. So even if they're posting in these flowy dresses, like, how long were they standing there in the dress? Take how many shots did they take?
Right.
And then I also think, what about the people behind them in the queue who are waiting to get their picture taken? Um,
Yeah.
so I don't want to be judgmental, and I know that the influencers probably do help inspire people to go to a destination because they're promoting Bali or promoting somewhere else. But I just think from a safety angle, which you really do need to be more careful about now. I'm not saying that the world has got more dangerous, but I just think as a solo female traveler, you really do have to be vigilant. And I just wouldn't be promoting those kind of images for solo female travel as such. So I think I do agree with you there about they are just going to get pictures taken. They're just going vacationing and having
Hmm.
their picture taken like that.
Hmm.
Whereas there's rustic solo female traveling, go with a backpack. You're literally by yourself, and it's quite difficult to take pictures of yourself when you're by yourself.
It is.
Especially if, yeah, especially if you go to rural destinations as well. I mean, if you're in a city or something, you can ask someone to take a picture of you. But
Right.
yeah, I was just very concerned the way the industry was going, and I just wanted to put that post out there. And I was really surprised with the amount of people who resonated with more authenticity, people who said they were kind of overseeing those kind of images, because I guess they're all kind of looking quite similar. So that was such an eye opener and such a reassurance as
Yeah,
for
like, it
me
made
and
me
all.
reach out to you, like, I felt like,
Yeah,
yes, like, like, and I think that is something that's important to remember, and again, like, it not judging if people wanna go and have photo shoots, I think that's cool, like, I like one day I might do it, right, myself, and you might, right, for an event, like, we need something, we want these amazing pictures, sure,
yeah.
why not, right? But I think it is important to be transparent, and you're right, like, and people don't realize the context, and when the women or guys, I don't know, but when they're getting these perfect photos, like, what is the cost, right? How long were they
Mm.
there? Like, was it freezing cold and they're trying to look like it's not, and but I think it does present an opportunity because like you're saying, so many people resonated with your posts, kinda talking about authenticity. I think that a lot of people are getting tired with the perfect pictures and can't resonate. Like most of us have now been online long enough to know that like we can't meet that expectation, that standard, that perfect online picture.
Yeah.
Like it's just disappointing if you try to have a perfect Instagram life. I'm lucky Instagram deleted my account years ago for no reason. So so I'm off.
That's probably
Um
probably a blessing. Yeah.
No, I think it was, right? Like, I'm not inundated with all those, standards that I can't even live up to.
Yeah.
Um, but I think there is now a call for authenticity and for the opposite.
Yeah. And I've also seen recently, I can't remember who it was, but I saw a woman, she was filming herself in India, and she wasn't wearing much. And she was saying, everybody's staring at me, people are staring at me. And I thought, well, the, first of all, it's a cultural thing. So wherever you go, you need to know what the culture is and know what to expect. And then if
Yeah,
you're walking around with a camera, people are going to be looking because they're curious anyway.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
a weird call out. I got lots of stares in India, obviously, as do most foreigners, as you're saying, but I think for me, sometimes people and this took me a long time of traveling to honestly realize this, but staring is not always hostile, because
Yeah.
I think I initially took it as you're staring. That means there's a problem. You don't like me. You don't want me here. Right. Like I could make up all these things about what staring meant when in reality, 99% of the time, it was just curiosity,
Exactly.
you know?
Yeah.
And so people put all this stigma onto they're staring, they're looking at me. And it's like, yeah, they're curious. You're a foreigner.
Yeah. It doesn't mean that you're they're a threat to you. They're just, especially if you're by yourself as well.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's in admiration. People are looking at you thinking, wow, she's here, she's by herself. So you don't know what they're thinking, really.
You don't know what they're thinking. And so many times I had to, I mean, it was really a blessing, honestly, for me to realize how wrong I was so often, right? Like there were
Mm.
really times where I was like, why are these people staring at me? And I was so annoyed. And like I'd say something to them, but like not being aggressive, but I'd say like, so this was my way of being like low key aggressive without being aggressive. I'd say, hello, right? Just, like, hello. And the people would get so excited and they were so happy just to get a hello from me. And we would have a really nice conversation. And then I'd find out that they were amazing. And then I was like, well, I hope my tone wasn't too wasn't too crazy, or aggressive. But like
Yeah,
people, I don't know, there's so many cultural just misunderstandings sometimes.
yeah, exactly, exactly. But I'm so glad I put that post out because it's given me reassurance to continue doing what I'm doing. And so
Yeah.
many people were saying that when they travel alone, they wear really old clothes, they hardly take any pictures of themselves. And I think that's really important in certain destinations not to be wearing anything too revealing and having too much flesh on show because it's for me it's a kind of it's a sign of respect. Not saying
Yeah.
that you need to go traveling in certain destinations and be completely covered up, but blending in more as much as I can with blonde hair and blue eyes. But
Right.
it
You're not
is
gonna blend in India either way. But no,
no, unless I go
absolutely.
to Sweden. Yeah.
Right. But no, you're right. I mean, look, when I was in India, I absolutely wore more clothing than I would if I was in Hawaii,
Mm.
even if the temperature is the same, right? Like if I'm in the United States, yeah, I might wear like a really skimpy tank top or you could have your bikini on with a skirt and it's fine. But like in India, that's ludicrous. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just so being aware of that. I think it's important.
I think it just gains you respect from the locals as well, and you can A, have a more comfortable time, B, you can interact with the locals a lot more. You're more approachable to them, I think, and rather than them dismiss you, I think you might get invited for a drink in their family house or something if you're,
Yeah.
you know,
Because there's something to be said for not wanting to make other people uncomfortable. Because I think sometimes we can think about, like, well, I'm comfortable. I don't mind. There's nothing wrong with it. And yeah, okay, there might not
yeah,
be anything wrong with it. But when you're in another country, I think it's important to be mindful of other people's comfort. And if showing certain parts of your body makes you comfortable, but is uncomfortable for other people, I think it's something to really consider. And sometimes maybe you consider not going there, if you really can't mesh with it, right?
yeah, yeah. Maybe there are other destinations that are more geared for your kind of travel if you want to be wearing that kind of stuff. There's loads of destinations, but then if you're going off the beaten track or go into more cultural destinations, then yeah, it's for me it's a sign of respect and being mindful.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, even if you are completely comfortable with your body, and it's how the other person might feel with you being like that. Which yeah, that's a great explanation for it.
Yeah. Yeah. So speaking of, being in places that maybe require being a little bit more covered up, right now you are based in Dubai and you've been there for 3 years?
Yeah, 3 years and 2 months now.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
oh no, go on.
No, I'm just curious. So I've never been to Dubai. Of course, I've heard so much about it. Good, bad, terrible. Um, so I guess I wonder what is the experience actually like for you, and like why did you choose to settle there for a little while?
It's really interesting actually because if people haven't been, they've got two perceptions of it, I think. And talking about clothing, one of them is, or when I first moved here, people were saying to me, "But don't you need to cover up?" No,
That's what I would think. Okay, you don't.
no, you don't need to cover up. It is the Middle East. Well, it's the in the Gulf, but it's probably the most cosmopolitan country that I've been to in the Middle East. And I think the fact that there are, I can't even remember how many, but I think more than 180 different nationalities living here.
Mhm.
About 80% of us are expats. So it's such a blend of cultures that it's very progressive. I came here 12 years ago and it was very different back then. And when I went to the mall 12 years ago, there was a sign saying, please cover your shoulders and your knees.
Hmm.
Now you don't need to do that. And you do see women walking around in stuff that you would probably wear to clubs in the mall. So I always still try, and I always feel weird not like having my shoulders out in the mall as well, because
Yeah.
it predominantly it is an Islamic country, but they are very accepting to other cultures and other religions. Um, so the Burj Khalifa, it lights up for um, Diwali, is that the Festival of
Hmm.
Light in
Hmm.
India? For other countries, national days, they celebrate Christmas as well.
Okay.
So
Wow.
yeah, it's very very cosmopolitan, very multicultural, and you don't need to cover up here. But saying that again, I would always try and keep beachwear to festivals or clubs or the beach, and then at everyday life, kind of dress a little bit more conservatively, but
Mhm.
you don't need to be covering up. So that was one massive preconception that I found when I moved here. I had so many questions actually that I wrote a post about why I chose to move to Dubai to kind of answer all the questions. So I
Yeah.
think the second one is, isn't it superficial? Because you see all of these influencers. Dubai did an amazing job at marketing itself as a tourist destination, and they were, I don't know if they still are, but the top travel destination in the world. And they're extremely, extremely safe for solo female travelers. And I think that is also because of the marketing that they did. But because of that, I think people also associate Dubai with tall skyscrapers, swanky bars, and you really need a lot of money to come here. People come here to kind of work hard, play hard, have the luxury lifestyle. And yeah,
Yeah.
there is that, and that's what's portrayed most, I think. But there are so many different layers to Dubai, and I think the longer you stay here, the more you kind of peel away those layers,
Hmm.
and and really get to know more about the culture and the city. And there is culture here. I read so many comments. It's like Marmite in England.
Yeah. Yeah.
People either love it or hate it. So I feel like Dubai's like Marmite, and you get comments from people who really love it, and then comments from people who hate it. But comments from people who hate it who haven't been here.
Right.
So it's, yeah, I think it's probably the biggest destination that people judge.
Yeah, because I mean, even for myself, I feel like I've heard weird things about Dubai, especially in the last year, in the context of
Mm,
trying to figure out how to word it to not have censorship issues on YouTube, in the context of questionable adult encounters and endeavors, women maybe being exploited, or not even
yeah.
maybe exploited. Yeah, it depends upon the context. Sometimes a chosen exploitation. So is it really exploitation? But just of sort of a seedier side of
Yeah.
Dubai. And that's been a lot of what I've been hearing lately, which had me feeling like, oh, I don't know, Dubai sounds scary, you know. But of course, that's not going to be everywhere or everything. But I feel like that's what I've been hearing a lot lately about these Dubai trips.
Yeah. I've seen a couple of things about that as well. I mean, nowhere's perfect. And there's negative and positive things about every single destination, I would say. Also, in today's age, you don't really know what the truth is as well. You're only really getting one side of things. But I think with the whole OnlyFans thing and the influencers thing, then that is that's kind of like a dark world that's going to happen in different spots. I don't know. I don't feel like I can really talk too much about that
Yeah,
topic because I don't.
right. Well,
I'm
it's
not
nice
in that
to know
in
that
that world,
right.
but
Well, I
you
think
don't
that
see it here.
that's what I was gonna say. I think it's nice to know that like you can be in Dubai and of course not know anything about that because why would you? You know, in the same
Yeah.
way that I love Bangkok. It's a great city. You can have so much fun there, but I know that there's weird stuff that goes on in Bangkok, but I'm not interested in any weird stuff. So it's not a part of my reality when I'm there, you know? And so trying to separate, you know, those different things because, yeah, you don't have to interact with darker things just because you're in a city where that might exist.
Yeah. And I also think some of I mean, did that put you off?
Off of Bangkok.
Yeah. Knowing that other stuff happens, did it stop you from traveling there?
So, you know what's funny? It was sort of the opposite. When I first arrived at Bangkok, I arrived at like 1 in the morning. And so my first perception of Bangkok was the nightlife. And I was catfished by my uh, hotel. Like it was like a whole thing. So the point is, my first perception of Bangkok was negative. Actually, it was like it's seedy, it's great, it's dirty, it's dark, right? Like I had this perception, but actually, after I was there for a bit longer, I was like, oh wait, Bangkok's amazing, right? Bangkok is this cool city where all these great things are going on. But so I had an
Mm.
opposite where I did have a negative perception of Bangkok, but it was just based on my first initial experiences and then the reality. Or my experiences took over, of then having a positive experience in Bangkok.
Yeah, because I think Dubai is extremely safe, but you still need to be careful with wherever you go in the world, I think. And if you're in with the wrong crowd or you meet the wrong people, then um, possibly things can happen. But I think it's put people off, and they think it's not safe, whereas it is the safest place I've ever been. I wouldn't choose to move here if I didn't feel that. And
Yeah.
what I've realized is that my nervous system, it just feels really safe because when you're traveling by yourself, you're constantly vigilant, you're constantly looking around. If someone comes too close to you from behind, just grab your bag a bit closer. Or I've got none of that here. If anyone comes up next to me, my body is just relaxed. But the good thing is that when I do travel, I do get back into that vigilant mode. So
Yeah.
that's one really nice thing about here, is that my nervous system is just relaxed, and I can enjoy the city at any time of the day. People are really open. It's so easy to meet people here because the majority of people have got that expat mentality. So yeah,
That sounds
it's
nice.
yeah, and for someone who's traveled a lot of her life, it's just nice to just feel safe.
Yeah, and I think what you say about the expat when you said the expat mentality, because I know that when I was traveling a lot, I've been in Paris now for a number of years, but when I was really in travel mode of going place to place, you do sort of become really open, or I did. I became
Yeah.
very open and just like so kind and sort of ready to meet people and to connect. And I found so many other people who are traveling felt that same way. And it was just a really positive space to be in. And so, if that exists there, that sounds really nice.
Yeah, and I love different cultures. So the fact it's just such a blend of different cultures here. My next door neighbours are from Sudan. The other ones are from Egypt. Along my corridor, Lebanese, another Brit as well, Indian. So it's just
Wow.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds nice. So then I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about how you're making it work, living overseas, working online. Because I think, for a lot of people, that's the dream, right? It's still a dream I'm even perfecting, this ability to make content, have a group, have a community online. So what has that process been like for you with traveling and building sort of a life, the ability to work and live overseas?
I started my blog about 12 years ago, and at the time I was doing some travel writing. So I was freelancing as a travel writer. And then as my blog was building, so I was traveling around quite a lot. And then I stayed in Colombia, lived in Colombia for a year and a half. And then I started to let go of the freelance work because I was starting to make income from my blog. And then I wrote my first book when I was in Colombia. So Colombia at the time was very cheap to live. So I was able to live there on what I was earning from my blog and start building it. And then I was traveling again from there. And then when I moved to the next destination, which was Barcelona, I feel as though I took a bit of a step up. So Barcelona was a bit more expensive than Colombia to live in. This was a few years ago again. But I was earning more from my blog to be able to have that kind of life in Barcelona. And then again, I've just been building my blog. I think the more I travel, the more content I write as well. So it's traveling for me is an investment in myself and then also in my blog because I can write about the destination articles. And then
to make money from your blog, were you just doing like Google AdSense or were you partnering with people how are you making money from the blog?
yeah, I was partnering with Mediavine, who are an advertising company. So they put all those pop-up ads on the blog. So that was increasing, which is passive income, which is amazing. And then affiliate income. So if somebody booked accommodation that I recommended or a tour company that I recommended, it wouldn't cost them anything extra, but I would earn a percentage of that. So that revenue was growing in the meantime. And then I was able to move to Dubai and live off that quite comfortably last year. But things have changed this year, and the main income stream, which was advertising revenue from Mediavine, has practically gone, really. So it's resulted in me earning about half of my income, and trying to look at ways and how I can really make it work in 2026 because yeah, Dubai can be expensive it's got different layers to it, and if you want an amazing life here, then it does cost money, obviously.
Right.
But it's not that much more expensive than London for the way that I'm living. But I now need to do different income streams to help me sustain a life here because this year has been very harsh. And I know a couple of travel bloggers have actually just given up on it and gone to just get a full-time job because it's changed so much in the last year with the rise of AI. But one thing I did notice, the reason I was able to travel quite a lot in the past was because I wasn't paying for rent. So
Yeah.
rent was basically my accommodation,
Right.
and it was great. I was nomadic. I was traveling here, there, and everywhere. The accommodation would kind of be my rent money. Food you need to pay for anyway. Transport cost, I'd always take overland transport where I could. So I was always traveling on a budget. But now that I'm actually paying rent and I'm an expat and I've got a residency, it's the first country that I've actually got a residency for. I'm realizing that I now need money to be able to travel on top of that.
Right. And so do you know, you said maybe the rise of AI, but I guess do you know what changed and why the income was cut so dramatically?
Yeah, Google made a lot of changes basically. So it used to be quite easy to be on the first page of Google. So, say if you're searching for solo travel in Dubai, I was top at one point. I haven't checked where I am now. But then they prioritized forums. So they prioritized Reddit and Quora to come at the top of the search,
Hmm.
top of the
Okay.
search. And then they prioritized travel companies that had a blog instead of travel blogs. So then small publishers were getting pushed down and down and down. And then with that, they started to put the AI snippet at the top. So people aren't even looking at blogs or, you get the answer as soon as you type it in with Google. So then that obviously has an impact on people finding your site, people spending a long time on your site, people booking through your site. So it kind of has a snowball effect on it. But yeah, the majority of it was advertising revenue.
Okay, wow. I mean, that makes sense. And, it's
Mm,
funny because once you say it, I can see it. I have noticed that now, like, I never consciously thought about it, but I've seen Reddit coming up in search results higher, whereas, years ago, I don't recall seeing Reddit be like the first or second response to a query. Um,
yeah,
so that's
yeah.
interesting.
And it's not even in date. You might get answers from 2, 3 years ago
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
appearing at
Yeah.
the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. And so, do you have a strategy yet for how to fight back or not fight, but how to adapt or how to adjust? Or is it still a work in progress?
This year has been really tough because there's been so much advice out there on, okay, try this, this is working for me, or do this is working for me. Go into travel planning, do this, do that. And so I've been trying a lot of things that hasn't worked.
Mm,
And I lost track of like peeling it all back and what actually do I want to do? What am I really passionate about doing?
yeah.
What does solo travel mean to me, especially because I haven't been traveling that much anymore? And it's all about helping other people and empowering people and showing them how to solo travel, which is how I began, you know.
Hmm.
And that kind of got lost this year with just running around like a headless chicken, trying different things just to survive. Um,
Yeah.
so I want to be doing mentoring to just help people get the mindset for solo female travel because I'm generally quite shy, I'm quite clumsy, I'm introverted. So if I can travel the world solo, then anyone can. So I want to help people get the right mindset because I feel that there's so much information out there about how to travel solo. But what if someone sat there and just thinks, oh, I see people traveling solo, or I see people in the floaty dresses in Morocco or Bali, and I want to do that, and I don't feel confident enough. So I want to fill that gap, and I
Yeah.
also think that it's really important for me to just to connect with more people because I'm living my life behind a laptop, and when I'm not traveling, I'm not connecting, and that was part of the reason why I travel is to connect with locals, to learn things from other people. It's just a mix of a mix of different cultures and learning from each other and connection. And I've been lacking that this year. So that's what I want to do for 2026 is connect with more solo travelers and help more people, just help inspire more people.
I love that because I feel like my word for the year maybe is connection too, you know?
Love
Um,
it.
it's definitely like something that I've started reaching out, even with you, right? Reaching out, trying to connect and I think
Mm.
that's important. It's what so many of us are lacking. And I think that when we try to build businesses, I think thinking about connection and being of service to others is always a good mindset to start with, like how can you go wrong? That's sort of a central sort of guiding principle. And I also think bringing back, you know, the concept of authenticity. I think that is something that's
Mm.
really important and that you can offer, right? Like, of course, there are these, 20 something influencers with their gorgeous dresses. That's perfect, wonderful. But to be something different and to be okay with that, because you know what? There are a lot of people who won't fit that mold who still want to know it's okay to solo travel, and to get out in the world and to not feel like they need to live up to that. So to be someone who's a counterexample, I think is really inspiring.
Thank you. And I also did the first virtual solo female travel summit this year. So I'm going to be doing that again for solo summer next year as well, and bringing in more experts. And it's so nice to have an idea and then create something and just to get amazing feedback and know that it's helped people. I
Yeah.
absolutely loved putting that together, and I'm really excited about doing one next summer just to try
Nice.
and empower more people and maybe inspire more people to travel to more emerging destinations that they might not have thought of going to as well, like broaden their minds a bit more.
Yeah, what countries do you think, or what destinations do you think are sort of underrated? That because I'm so over, like I'm even thinking about doing a video. I'm so over certain destinations. I feel like they're just overdone, and I think there are interesting places people could go. But so I guess where would you sort of start, kind of directing people, or what places do you think are underrated?
I would definitely say the Emirates, and I know that I'm very biased because
Okay.
there's a lot of culture here and there's a lot of nature. There's mangroves in Abu Dhabi, so it's not necessarily Dubai. It's the whole seven Emirates that I would say. There's also a lot of places in Africa. So Senegal, I would say, would be an ideal first-time destination for people who want to go to West Africa. They might be a bit
Mhm.
scared about going to West Africa alone. Um, Sierra Leone, absolutely love Sierra Leone. Um, Taiwan, because I know Japan was a huge destination for people this year.
Mhm.
Um, so Taiwan, I would say, was more kind of understated.
Mhm.
Um, and a lot of islands in the Pacific. So Palau is very safe and it's accessible from Australia as well and Taiwan.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, there are a few more destinations I would probably choose. I'm going to write a post actually because normally every single year I write the best destinations for solo travelers for whichever year is coming up. And it kind of feels like I'm recycling the same places all the time because there are countries that are great for solo travelers for a reason, but then there are also other ones that might be a bit edgy and might give you a little bit, something a bit different and a bit extra. So I'm going to be writing a post on unusual destinations that you might feel safe going to, maybe.
I love it. I want to read it. I'm ready to go. I mean, I think even the ones you listed, they're all places I've never been. But I'm definitely open to. I had my first trip onto the continent of Africa not too long ago. I went to Ethiopia for the first time,
Wow.
and so that was interesting. But I definitely want to explore more. There are so many different countries and so many different places. So Sierra Leone, Senegal, especially now living in France, of course, I'm more interested in places like Senegal because there's such a big population here. So it's given me slight glimpses into the culture. So
Yeah.
uh, cool places to go. And so those are some of the underrated places. For you, of course, you're in Dubai now in the Emirates, but what were some of your favorite? I mean, you just gave a list of places that are underrated, but are there other countries that you visited that you just loved and felt a connection to? Or because I know you've gone so many different places. Um, and I wonder what some of your favorites were or places that you really liked.
Yeah. Colombia is a country that's just got my heart. As soon as I arrived in Medellin, I just fell in love with the place, fell in love with the people. Because for me, it's all about the people, and it's just a sense that you get there. A sense of acceptance. I think
Mhm.
if I go to a country and people are just staring at me all the time, and I don't feel comfortable, even though, like we said earlier, it might just be staring out of curiosity, then it has a bit of an impact on how I recommend the country from my own personal point of view. So
Yeah.
Colombia, everybody in Medellin was just so welcoming to me. So I absolutely love Colombia. Colombia in itself can be a bit edgy, but
Yeah.
Medellin is, yeah, it's got my heart. And I went to Syria a couple of years ago. I was so excited to go to Syria. I wasn't solo, I was actually on a tour because that was the only way that you could get in at the time as a tourist. And I found it, even though I was entering kind of a war zone, well, the war zone in the northern part of the country, um, I found the locals to just be so welcoming and so proud that I was there. This is what I say about Sierra Leone as well. They're just so proud that you're in their country and they want to speak to you. They want to find out why are you here. And they want to know about your culture. So Syria blew me away, and there's so much history there, and there were parts of it that reminded me a bit of Morocco. I felt like I could be in a Riyadh in Morocco, or um, just so much history and so much culture which I didn't know of until I went there.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, other places, Madeira is a Portuguese island. It's just so magical. There was just something about that island. It's
Hmm.
breathtaking, with nature. Yeah, it's one of the most magical places that I've been to. Um,
I need a
And then
notepad talking to you. I need to write.
do you know, it's really hard to kind of remember everywhere because it's been over such a long
Yeah.
span. Um,
Well, what about sometimes other experiences are easier to remember. Are there any countries or cities that you went to and you felt like, no, thank you. We don't really get along super well.
yeah, yeah. Suriname
Suriname,
in
okay.
South America. It's one of those three countries at the top of the continent. You got
Hmm.
French Guiana, British Guiana, and Suriname, which is a Dutch. Um, it's what do you call it? Run by the Dutch.
Right, like a yeah.
Yeah, a territory.
Yeah, right. It's just
That's it. Yeah, I couldn't think what it was then. Um, I I was there for 3 weeks, and I didn't like my time there that much, and I couldn't wait to leave. Do you know when you're just in a place and you're itching to leave? Mainly because as soon as I left the guest house, the whenever a guy walks past you, they do this noise, and so I couldn't go anywhere without hearing this. And it wasn't just me; it was just they would do it to every single woman. And I know it's a cultural thing, but I just felt very
yeah.
uncomfortable there. And it wasn't until I did a weekend trip and went off into the Amazon in Suriname, which was amazing, that I actually got to experience more of the country. And I thought, this is a really nice part of Suriname that I like. But the actual capital was quite uncomfortable. I mean, it's interesting, but
Hmm.
going there as a woman alone, I just didn't like the feeling that I had.
Yeah.
And then another one would be Mongolia. I spent a month in Mongolia. I was working at a TV station, doing some journalism work. And I don't know, I just felt very repressed. Do you know, you just get that heavy feeling when you're
Hmm.
somewhere? And I was living with a host family. I mean, it was an amazing experience. But as soon as I got on the flight to leave, I just felt this heavy weight come off me and I just felt free. So I didn't
Ooh,
realize how much of an effect that had on me while I was in the country until I left.
yeah.
But it is a fascinating country to go to, and it has two humped camels. They call it the countryside, which is basically anywhere outside the city. And it is amazing to go and explore Mongolia. I definitely don't want to put people off going there, but I think you
Yeah.
resonate with certain places at certain times of your life, and I wasn't resonating with those two particular countries at that time.
Okay, yeah, interesting. And it's funny because yeah, sometimes these experiences when they're not so great, it can be just, hey, it can be just a different vibe, not your place. And sometimes it's the fact that you are alone. Like I know
Mm.
that I went to Nepal, and when I was there, it's the only country I've been to, honestly, where I feel like I experienced a good amount of racism. And I'm not someone who says that lightly or throws that
Oh,
around. And it only happened when I was alone. If I was in a group or if I was in a group with other people and other races, it was completely fine. But like me as a black woman on my own, I experienced several different encounters. But I also made friends there, right? So it's not one thing, and it wasn't an overall negative experience. But it, these things happen, and so sometimes when you're alone, you're treated differently, or versus when you're in a group. Like so, things
mm.
happen sometimes in different countries where it's like, okay, I wasn't expecting that, or things can be a little wacky sometimes in different countries.
I'm
So
sorry you had that experience.
yeah, but it was interesting, right? But and it was also interesting because I met another black woman when I was there who was sometimes traveling by herself, but she was largely in groups, and she was like, "Oh, I never experienced it." I'm like, "But you're traveling with all these other white people, Like, so I only experienced it when I was on my own and not with other people. But so, you know, but I still had a good time. I trekked the Annapurna Circuit. I
Oh,
had
wow.
I had a good time. So no
Yeah.
overall complaints.
interesting, isn't it? Because I can only talk about the world from my perspective, or I think anyone can only talk about any experience from their own lens anyway. But I'm traveling the world as a blonde, white Western woman, and there have been countries where I've dyed my hair brown because I wanted to feel a bit more invisible, and it did
Yeah.
make a difference. I did feel very different, and I was perceived very differently. So yeah, it's interesting, kind of traveling in a bit of a disguise just to see how you're perceived.
Have you been to Myanmar?
No, unfortunately, and I wanted to go before the military kind of took over.
Yeah, so when I was there, and it was amazing. Like, when I was there, I didn't realize maybe how semi-dicey it was. And I'm glad I didn't know because I had an amazing time. Um, but I was there and solo traveling, and, I came across, another young woman who had blonde hair, and she was literally treated like she was a celebrity. And I mean that literally in the
Wow.
sense that there would be lines of people waiting to take pictures with her, to talk to her, like, just because she had blonde hair. Like, it was fascinating. So I was wondering if you had gone there, if you had your hair dyed or not.
No, no, I did get that in India. I think a lot of people get that in India, and you don't need to be blonde for that. But when people just want their picture taken with you, it's
Mhm.
quite confusing at first because you think they just want their picture taken, so you think you go to take their picture, and they go, no, 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 like you come, you want a
Right,
picture with me? You've never met me
right,
before. You're probably never going to see me again, but okay.
right. No, it's like, "Hey, look what I found today." You know?
Yeah, and I was there after my divorce actually when I was going through a very hard time, and so it was really lovely to be treated like that. Yeah,
Mhm.
it just kind of
Right,
felt
the warmth.
wanted.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. It's
yeah,
like you felt sort of a rejection, or there's been a separation, and then to instead get the opposite of the closeness, because in India there's a lot of closeness. You're on the train, you're in line, people are going to be close to you.
yeah, yeah.
And so where did you then dye your hair so that you wouldn't stand out?
I dyed it in Bolivia. Is it Bolivia? I think Peru and Bolivia. It was wash in, wash out. So it lasted 15 washes.
Mhm.
Um, and at first it looked amazing, so it was a really dark brown. And then it started to, when it faded, it went into like a gingery colour. Um, so I was obviously standing out with gingery coloured hair then.
Right.
Um, but the place that I really noticed it was when I was travelling in Jordan, and then I crossed over to Israel quite a long time ago. And at the beginning, I felt very invisible. I was sat in a mosque, and I was kind of praying in the corner. And then this man came over to me, and he put a coin down by me. And I opened my eyes, and then he saw that I had blue eyes because I had brown hair, but I had I've forgotten what it's called. I should know that, the abaya
Is it okay, yeah.
or the hijab. Um,
Yeah.
and then he kind of looked a bit taken back, and then realised that I wasn't a local and that I was a tourist. I think because of my blue eyes. So I kind of passed for a
Mhm.
bit of a local there. But then
Mhm.
as I was coming back round, because I spent 2 weeks traveling through both countries, and as I was coming back round this and entering back into Jordan, in the south of Jordan, it was washing out, and I was getting a very different experience from the locals. You know, when you're in a taxi and they're kind of looking at you in the mirror and keep eyeing you up in the mirror, and
Right.
it was just really uncomfortable. And then that was when I was staying in a Bedouin camp by
Mm.
myself, and there was part of me thinking, is this safe? I'm all alone in this Bedouin camp in the middle of the desert. Am I going to be
Right.
okay? Yeah.
Yeah, I've wondered about, but I think that I don't know how you feel, but I felt like for me, solo traveling, there were so many times when I was vulnerable, like
Mm.
times where I'm somewhere, my train was supposed to arrive at 6 p.m., but it arrived at 2 a.m. And now I'm at 2 a.m. alone somewhere, and I need to get a taxi. But the locals really were kind and helpful, right? And so, like, sometimes I felt very vulnerable because I was, but luckily the world was kind of a nicer place than sometimes we can imagine it could be. And so, I mean, I don't know how you felt in some of those moments, or you're still here. So obviously it went okay. Or I hope
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I feel as if you get, I don't know what you believe in, but there's so many serendipities when you travel alone. And that's what I love about it, is that when you do get yourself into a potentially what could be a bit of a situation, or I've had buses drop me off in a roundabout thinking they were going to take me to a bus station, but they just dropped me off at a roundabout, and I'm just there going, I don't know where to go. And this is before smartphones.
Yeah.
And then this little earth angel appears in the form of a local and guides me somewhere or helps me out. And you just meet all these random people that help you.
Hmm.
So that's what I love about solo traveling.
Yeah. Yeah. All of these like little moments of grace, you know?
Yeah, yeah. You just realize the kindness of people, and
Yeah.
I do think if you give that out as well, and then it's kind of karma, and you can receive that back as well. So I'm always trying to be really open and kind when I travel, and smile at people and try and be friendly. And I think when you're open, you just really open yourself up to people's warmth and kindness and
Yeah.
opportunities that you might not have got before. You get
Absolutely.
invited into someone's home. But I always go with my instinct. If it feels off, then obviously I wouldn't do it. But
Yeah.
there have just been moments when afterwards I've realised, oh, I went and did that by myself, but it felt like the right thing to do and I had the most amazing time. But I wouldn't tell someone to go and do that because it doesn't sound very good.
Absolutely. I think that's an important part too. And especially as women, but just as people in general, it's to learn to like to trust our instinct and our
Yeah.
feelings too. And to not compromise on so many things. But because you do, I do think like what you were kind of saying, what you put out is kind of what you get back. You know, if you put out good energy, you're more likely to attract other people with good energy, but also to, yeah, pay attention to your feelings because like you, I've gone to strangers' homes multiple times. I agreed to stay at a stranger's home, never having met them before. It was like someone I randomly met on Facebook, and then it was an amazing family. But and I wouldn't recommend any of that to people, right? Like, don't just go to somebody's house that you randomly met on Facebook, like like they're taking you to some random part of India, and I hung out at some random people's homes in Japan. I don't recommend it, but I do. It's like
Yeah.
you have to use your own discernment in that moment because it could be a really bad situation that you're walking into, or it could be really life changing in a positive way.
Yeah. And actually, in Timor Leste, on one of my most recent trips, and Timor Leste is not known for tourism at all. It's quite expensive if you do want to get tours in the country because they don't have a lot of people visiting there. But I was staying in the hostel, and then they had a massive downpour of rain, and I had to leave to go to the airport to get my flight the next day. And there was this huge puddle outside the guest house, and I couldn't walk through it with my suitcase. And I don't ever take anything more than I can't carry. But there was no way that I could pick my suitcase up because it was a huge puddle. And then this guy just appears in a van and says, "Do you just want to get in and I'll take you across the puddle?" So I get in, takes me across the puddle, and he says, "Where are you going?" And I say, "Oh, to the bus place to go to the airport." He said, "Okay, I'll take you." And he was from the Philippines, and then I was saying like hello and thank you in Philippines. There's a lot of Filipinos in Dubai, and I'd just been there on that trip, so I was
Yeah.
talking to him about the Philippines. Um, but I was sat there thinking, I've just got in a stranger's car, and he's taken me somewhere, and I don't even know where this is, and hopefully he's taken me to the place that I've asked.
Right,
So it
right.
it just it just happens, but just yeah, I've just gone with it, and it's been my instinct, and I had a really nice interaction with him, and
Yeah.
yeah,
The only time I've almost regretted getting into someone's car was in Nepal. And, I was going down at the Annapurna circuit. So I had already done the peak and everything. And so this guy at one point pulls over, and this happens a lot, to certain parts on the circuit. I was there, if you're on the road that has cars. This guy stopped and he said, "Oh, do you want to ride down?" And I was like, "Yeah, you know what? Why not? I'll get a ride for a little bit." I got into his car. He was very friendly, very nice, but the problem was how friendly and nice he was because, it's the Annapurna circuit, and so it's very windy, and the drop-offs are like death. It's just like these major cliffs, and
Mm.
so he's driving, and he's looking, talking to me like, "Oh, so how has it been going? How's your" and I'm like, "Please don't talk, like, look at the road, look at we're gonna die." Like, going down these windy roads, and he's, "Oh, how's everything?" My life was flashing before my eyes, right, in this
Ah,
car, but
scary.
he got me there, it was safe, we made it, obviously. But yeah, you meet these people who can be really friendly, take you where you're going, and, as long as they're looking at the road, hopefully you're okay.
Yeah, and it's interesting because on the flip side of that, in Costa Rica, I was trying to get a bus and I went to the bus station and somebody ran out of his car and he said, "No, no, no, the bus is gone, it's gone. It's just left. Get in and I'll
Ooh,
take you to the bus to the next stop." My instinct was automatically, there's no way I'm getting in that car. And I looked
right.
over and there was this really big guy sat there in the driver's seat. So it's it just traveling alone helps you trust your instinct more because there was no way I was going to get in that car, but yet
Yeah,
I've got in another car with someone else and it's been absolutely fine. So
right.
yeah, you,
Trusting that,
you
it's important
yeah,
'cause, I met a woman who was solo traveling who didn't trust her instinct one time and got herself into a bad situation, and it's avoidable because it was like she knew she shouldn't go with these people. She knew that she felt uncomfortable, but I think sometimes people feel like they have to say yes or they have to just do what someone is telling them to do. Someone says, "Oh, get in." You don't have to say yes, right? You don't have to go along with it. And I think that if you are a person who feels like you have to say yes at every juncture, every question, solo traveling might not be for you.
yeah, that's such a good point. And do you know, that's something I feel like every single time I solo travel, it teaches me what something that I need to learn in that moment. And it's helped me get rid of the people pleasing aspect because you can't be saying yes all the time to people. You really
Mhm.
have to be assertive. And my personality in Dubai is very different from my traveling personality. When I'm traveling by myself and other people have traveled with me, they've said, "Wow, you just kind of go into this autopilot and bartering with guys on a taxi price and standing up for myself and standing my ground and not taking any nonsense or anything." And so
Yeah.
that's what I love about it. I feel so empowered and it reminds me of how strong I am as a person and how I can say no. And I embrace that and it's okay. Whereas when I'm living in my day-to-day life, I'm a different person from who I am from solo traveling.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to tap into different skill sets, and for
Yeah.
sure, I think when you're solo traveling, if you're successful, uh, you learn how to have some boundaries, because especially as a woman, I mean, it's mandatory, it's because, it's just that in my experience, I think people would sometimes try to, I don't know, I think that sometimes people think that they can maybe get over on you a little bit if you're a woman alone, they can just, yeah, tell you to get in a car, but not that men don't experience this either. I'm sure they do, but I think that you're seen as a softer target, you know?
Mm,
Not that men can't be targeted, but you're an easier target, you know? And that's the perception. I'm not saying it's reality, but it's the
yeah.
perception. And
Yeah.
so because of that, you have to be able, but as I said, you don't have to be perfect when you set out to solo travel because I know I wasn't, right? My skills grew as my experiences grew, right? Like
Same.
I learned how, okay, my saying, no, no, but I'm just, no, that wasn't sufficient. And then I learned to say no, right? Without the giggling, without the smiling, right? Like that difference of no, thank you, right? And to get those
Mm,
different
to own it.
to own it, like, no, no, I'm not.
Mm.
No, thank you. Right?
Yeah.
And so that can come, but I think you have to really be open to letting the people pleasing go.
Yeah, definitely.
And so you've been helping women solo travel. What do you think the main boundary is or the obstacle for some women for solo traveling?
I think judgment of other people's opinions, taking on other people's opinions. So other people telling them that they can't go there. Like, why would you want to go to Syria? It's dangerous. Um, why do you even want to go traveling alone? Aren't you scared? Um, shouldn't you be doing this? Shouldn't you be doing that? People questioning your motive for solo traveling and telling you how unsafe places are because of news that they've read or watched, and not people that have actually been to that destination. And I think if you have any doubt in your own mind that you can't solo travel, and you get that confidence, you go, right, I'm going to do it. And then other people are telling you all of this, then it's so easy to just go, oh no, I'll wait. I'll wait until this situation changes, or I'll wait until this person comes with me.
Yeah.
Because you lose that confidence in yourself. So I think the biggest things that come up are confidence. Like, can I really do it? And how do I do it? Am I going to be really safe? And where do I go? Because we're so
Yeah.
privileged nowadays. There's so many places that we can actually travel to. Like, the world is literally our oyster. And I know places change all the time. Like Colombia 25 years ago was one of the most dangerous countries to go to, but I was living there for a year and a half and it had changed. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, I say those three things are the biggest
You're so
things.
right. I just met a woman who interviewed her who is living in Colombia and was saying how safe it is and how much she
Oh,
loves it. So it's funny you bring it up. But yeah, I think you're right because, even for me, when I told my family I was going to solo travel for the first time, they were scared for me, and had a bunch of reasons as to why I shouldn't go. And of course, since I've gone and had so much success, of course, now they're 100% on board and, you know, don't worry about me in that same way at all. But I think if someone's going for the first time, there can be a lot of voices that they hear that are
yeah,
not from people who are doing it. And I think that is a really vital part. Like, I do think it's important to get other people's opinions, but I think I personally like to value the opinions of people who have actually had the experience greater than people who just have thoughts about what the experience might be like.
yeah. I think that's the same, isn't it, in every area of life? That's what I've learned as well. That learn
Mhm.
from people, listen and learn from people who are a few steps ahead of you in whatever you're choosing to do.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Lisa,
and
you're
so
more
that,
than a few steps ahead of nearly all of us when it comes to the solo traveling experiences.
thank you.
And so I definitely want to make sure I put a link to your blog so that people can, because I do think if you are thinking about solo traveling, it is good to check the list of places that are easy for solo travelers. Like, I wouldn't
Yeah.
say for your first time solo traveling to go to India. It's one of my favorite countries. I absolutely love India, but for a first time solo traveler, I'm not sure I would choose that, right, for
Mm.
an easy first experience, right? So Lisa has lists and you can get support and advice. So I don't know. Is there any last tips you want to give for people who are thinking about getting out there and taking some solo trips?
Yeah, I would say that it's just now the easiest it's ever been, I would say, to solo travel because you're so connected with technology, because you can get SIM cards before you leave. So
Yeah.
you're always connected. You've always got maps. You've always got a connection to the accommodation that you're going to, or if anything might go wrong, which things do go wrong. And, solo travel does teach you problem solving, but there's always someone on the other end of your phone to be able
Yeah.
to talk to. And there's so many other women who have done it wherever you want to go in the world. There's people that have been there now, and
Mhm.
people who have got a trodden path that can say, "Oh, maybe stay away from this area or go to this place." Um, so just book the flight, and as soon as you book the flight, then you're committed, and then just do it. Just do some planning, get excited. And I still get really nervous whenever I go on a solo trip, and that it's perfectly normal and natural to feel like that. So don't feel that nervousness is a signal for you shouldn't be doing something. It's a signal that you're about to go into the unknown, and you're about to have the most, I would say, amazing experience and amazing personal growth experience from solo travel.
Yeah, I love that. And I agree. I don't think that being nervous means there's a problem, or even sometimes being indifferent. I don't know. I recently I went to Portugal for the first time, and I was like a little bit indifferent about going, and it was amazing, you know? And so sometimes you can have these good experiences, even if you're a little nervous before or indifferent. If you go in, I think if you still just go into it open, it can be really positive.
Yeah, definitely. And nowadays, the tourism industry is really catering to women traveling alone.
Mhm.
There's women only accommodation, there's women only tours. If you don't feel comfortable for the whole duration, you could just hop on a women only tour for part of that. So many
Do you ever
resources
think about
out there.
hosting any tours, by the way? You've been so many places. Is that on the radar?
Yeah, yeah. My trip to Madagascar in September.
Okay, nice.
Yeah,
So that's
I
coming
wasn't.
up?
Pardon?
I said, so that's coming up, or was this past September?
It's coming up. I've kind of not wanted to do them because I am quite introverted and I like my own time, and so I wasn't sure if I could be with a big group of people. But I did a 4-week tour for the 10 least visited countries in the world, and I was with people 24/7, and it showed me that okay, this is okay. I can do this
Yeah,
as long as
yeah.
I've got a little bit of time and I can have some solo time. So yeah, I'm really happy to go with. Hopefully there'll be 10 women going, and then I'll be going along as well. I've never been to Madagascar. It looks amazing, and I chose it because logistically it seemed a bit challenging as a solo traveler to kind of figure out where to go and how to get around.
Okay, nice. And so you're hosting the trip?
Yeah, I'm in partnership with Indus Travels, but then
Mhm,
I go as there'll be a local tour guide as well, but then I
mhm.
just go
But
as the
you're the
host.
travel guru welcoming people.
Not sure about the guru, but yeah. I am the person there welcoming people. Yeah, yeah. So if anybody wants to go to Madagascar, then there's a page on the blog that says join our tour, and you can get more information.
Sounds awesome. I'm gonna click to read about it. I wanna know. I wanna know what's going on. I wanna go. But okay, well, I appreciate your time today so much. It's so wonderful chatting with you. I feel like I could talk to you for hours and hours. You've been to
Same.
every country and so interesting and fun. But so thank you for today.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's been really lovely talking to you.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. And maybe you'll see you again at some point.
Hopefully.